Thank you. The question is that the motion as moved by the Premier be agreed to. I call the Minister for Family and Community Services and the Minister for Women.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I begin by tabling the commemorative certificate that will be given to all attending today's apology. Today we acknowledge and regret the trauma and pain of people who experienced forced adoptions in New South Wales, and today we acknowledge past mistakes. It needs to be repeated that this Parliament's 2000 inquiry called the practice of forced adoptions unethical and unlawful. It would be wrong to dismiss forced adoptions as yet another instance of outmoded conventional wisdom, when mistaken deeds were done for the best of all possible motives. For the policy of forced adoptions was not so simple nor forgivable, because the babies were removed by ignoring and even opposing the mother's wishes. The moral ends justified the means. This may be seen as of little consequence then, but it is crucial to our acknowledgement of wrong in 2012. This is why we apologise in this Parliament, because it was of consequence and remains of consequence today. It is often said that those who do not learn from the lessons of history are condemned to repeat them. This particularly applies to the misuse of power. So long as the institutions of state, and in particular of government, do not publicly acknowledge and regret their wrongs, then the liberty and the rights of the people remain at risk. It is true that there were thousands of young women in New South Wales who were persuaded or manipulated to accept that adoption was in the best interest of their child. But there are an unknown number for whom the persuasion became coercion. They are part of this apology. There are those who have told of signing adoption papers under heavy sedation when they didn't understand what they were doing. Others have claimed they were browbeaten over days, or their signatures forged, or not even collected. Some have said they were told their babies had died, only to find out years later it was all a lie. They are part of this apology. There are those mothers and fathers who do not seek an apology. However, the price of the grief, the guilt and the loss paid by others, mothers and fathers, is incalculable. For this we are sorry. Women have told me they were called sluts, who ever since have felt like outcasts. And for this we are very sorry. For the secrets they hid and continue to hide, we are sorry. For the babies we left in institutions when there was a loving mother denied the chance to care for them, we are sorry. For the wrong that kept on being wrong, we are sorry. Remember, there were mothers who found their children years later, only to be spurned and told they had not fought hard enough to keep them. The years of secrecy meant even their own children did not believe them. For the mothers who lost their babies once and then lost them again, we are sorry. To the brothers and sisters born later, children who didn't understand their mother's secret sadness, but saw and still feel its signs and scars, we are sorry. To the fathers we never told they were fathers, and to those who tried to claim their children but were denied, we also say sorry. I have had the privilege of meeting some of these women, men and their children, and many of you are here today. They are scarred by a grief we cannot imagine, but that every parent must fear. They didn't ask for much. They didn't thump the table for money. They did not demand we bring their children back to them. Their requests were much more simple. They wanted acknowledgement of the wrongs done to them by the charities, the hospitals, the state. They wanted us to acknowledge the brutality of separation, the agony of begging to see a baby and denied, or having the child taken away without farewell. They wanted us to see them for what they are, people just like us, ordinary people placed in impossible positions, not different, not outcasts, but one of us. They do not want our sympathy, they want our empathy. They want us to feel with them, not for them. They have carried their burden alone for long enough. Many of these mothers are now middle-aged or older, and the words of one will always stay with me. Let our last 20 years be years of peace and acceptance, she asked. And what do they want of today, the day when the leadership of the state formally apologises on behalf of the people of New South Wales. And again, it's simple. It ends as it began, with their lost and stolen children and the legacy they leave them. In the words of one, I want to walk out of Parliament House with my son feeling the best about me that he can and the best he can feel about himself. So they want their children to understand them, to know that they do love them, know that they did not give them up willingly, but were forced into adoption by a misguided system that did them wrong. Today we must give them that comfort. We acknowledge and regret these wrongs. We pledge not to repeat them.
Thank you.